Who do they think you are? A joke? A failure? Just another forgotten name in the wind? They mocked you when you were quiet, laughed when you were weak, spit your name like it meant nothing. But you remembered every smirk, every word. You didn't fight back. You just prepared. So now, you won't explain. You won't scream. You'll just show them who the hell you really are. Because silence was never surrender. It was your evolution. And now it's time. Time to make them remember your name. With fear. They laughed, didn't they? Not behind your back, right in your face. Mocked your struggle. Mocked your silence. Mocked your dream. And you stood there, absorbing it all. Not weak, just watching. Because deep down, you knew this moment would never leave you. They forgot it the next day. But you buried it. Deep. And every time life hit you, you dug that memory back up. Their laughter became a soundtrack you trained to. Every rep, every lonely night, every broken moment, you heard them. And it burned. But instead of breaking you, it built you. While they moved on, you turned their laughter into fuel. Not for revenge, but for transformation. You didn't shout back. You didn't prove anything on their timeline. Because you were too busy becoming something they wouldn't even recognize. That moment, it was your origin story. So when the day comes, when you walk in with a presence they can't ignore, you won't say a word. You'll just let your existence scream. I remembered. That's the difference. They mocked it. You memorized it. And now that memory is your edge, your anchor, your awakening. So let them laugh. Let them forget. You won't. Because the ones who remember are the ones who rise. They thought your silence meant surrender. But silence isn't giving up. It's sharpening the blade behind the curtain. While they were loud, reckless, busy feeding their ego, you were sitting in the shadows, watching, learning, plotting. You saw how they moved. You saw what they feared. You saw every crack in their armor. And they didn't even know they were being watched by the one they thought was already defeated. They mistook your stillness for emptiness. But what they never understood was this. Real monsters don't roar. They whisper. You weren't hiding. You were hunting. Every insult, every betrayal, every fake smile. You logged it. Calculated it, weaponized it, not for noise, but for impact, because when you return, you won't come back with words. You'll come back with consequences. They thought they silenced you, but all they really did was give you time. Time to build, time to burn. Time to become what they were never prepared to face. You weren't inactive. You were in cold, quiet evolution. And now the version of you that's rising isn't here to talk. It's here to dismantle. Because you didn't need to announce your rise. You just needed to calculate your strike. And now that the math is done, let the silence end. Let the reckoning begin. They thought the pain would break you. They thought you'd collapse, quit, vanish. But the pain didn't destroy you. It remade you. Every sleepless night, every breakdown behind closed doors, every scream you swallowed just to survive another day, it carved you into something else. But pain was only the beginning, because when pain dug deep, it didn't just leave scars. It lit a fire beneath them. That fire was rage, not the kind that lashes out blindly, the kind that sharpens focus, hardens bones, and rewrites the soul. Rage gave your pain direction. It turned the victim into the villain. It whispered, "You're not here to heal, you're here to conquer." So you stopped crying. You stopped pleading. You stopped waiting for help. And you started building a storm. Now the same people who caused the pain will have to deal with what they've awakened. Because they didn't just hurt you. They built something they can't contain. And that rage? It's not done yet. It still burns quietly behind your eyes, feeding every move, fueling every step. Pain built your foundation. But rage built your firepower. And now you're coming with everything. Not to ask for peace, but to show them exactly what happens when the Silent One finally erupts. They laughed when you vanished, disappeared without a trace. No posts, no updates, no noise. But they had no idea. You weren't lost. You were locked in the dark with yourself. And that darkness? That was your training ground. You fought your inner demons while no one was watching. Faced your failures, your fears, your brokenness. Alone. There were nights you didn't even recognize yourself. But that version of you, it had to die. Because evolution requires death. Death of the weak. You tore yourself down brick by brick, until there was nothing left but the raw material of rebirth. And inside that silence, something began to shift. You weren't healing, you were mutating. No noise, no validation, just pressure, just war. And now you've returned, but not as the one who left. You're no longer soft, no longer seeking, no longer explaining. You are becoming, and those who think they still know you will learn the hard way. You disappeared to evolve. Now you emerge as the unrecognizable, and the version of you that walks back into the world, it doesn't need to announce itself. It dominates on sight. This isn't about proving them wrong. That's too small now. This isn't about validation. You burned that need in the fire of your own rebirth. Now you return, but you're not here to speak. You're here to shift the atmosphere. You walk in, and the energy changes. People go silent. Eyes follow. Old enemies glance away. Because they feel it. They feel that you're not who you were. You're not proving a point. You are the point. Every room you enter becomes a battlefield they weren't ready for. Because your presence now is a weapon, and your silence is war. You don't need applause. You need them to choke on regret. You don't come with noise. You come with a calculated coldness that cuts deeper than revenge ever could. They don't get a confrontation. They get a reminder. A reminder that the one they mocked, the one they left behind, the one they tried to bury, is the storm they can't outrun. This isn't your return. It's their reckoning. They'll come crawling back eventually, with forced smiles, half-hearted apologies, excuses wrapped in guilt, but you'll look at them and feel nothing, because when you needed them, they disappeared. When you were drowning, they watched. Now they want to come back. They're not sorry. They're just surprised you survived without them. They didn't expect you to rise, didn't expect you to become untouchable. Now they see you glowing, and they want to feed off your fire? Too late, because you've changed. Not just outside, inside. You don't seek closure anymore. You don't seek peace. You've built emotional distance so wide, their words can't even echo through it. They'll talk. They'll cry. They'll beg. But you won't flinch. Because the new you doesn't accept apologies for crimes they celebrated. You gave them a chance to stay. They chose betrayal. Now they must live with your absence. Forever. Now comes the final act. Not a speech. Not a scene. Just presence. Because you are no longer becoming. You are not a person to be liked. Not a version to be accepted. But a force to be felt. You've stepped beyond emotions now. Beyond revenge. Beyond need. You are inevitable. You don't exist in their world anymore. They exist in the shadow of what you've become. And that shadow, it's cold, unforgiving, permanent. You don't chase. You don't explain. You don't warn. You just walk through life like a verdict. Every glance from you, every breath in your space, reminds them of what they tried to destroy and what they failed to contain. Because now, you are the storm they can't outrun, can't fight, can't survive. You are the final chapter in the story they thought they ended. And when they speak your name, let it tremble from their lips. Because now they know you didn't come back for peace. You came back as their lesson.